This is all that you can declutter using the 30-day minimalism game in just 1 month. So what is the 30-day minimalism game? How do we start? What would each week look like? What are the benefits and drawbacks? That, my friends, is the sun. I'm happy to see it. Now, what is the 30-day minimalism game? Now, this was invented by those crafty minimalists, Ryan Nicodemus and Joshua Fields Milburn. They developed this game as a great way to start the decluttering journey. So the Minimalist Challenge is easy, and I like to start it on the first of the month, and I am going to start one on this coming month. However, that doesn't matter. You can start it any old day. On the first day, declutter one thing. On the second day, declutter 2. On the third day, declutter 3. On day 17, declutter 17. After all the compounding, this fancy math reveals that when you have completed this minimalism game, by the end of the month, you will have decluttered 465 items. That is awesome! This month-long challenge is awesome, but as we go on, of course it does get a little harder. So I made this super awesome tracker here that you can fill in, and you can go to minimalisthome.ca/game and just keep track of while you do it, because sometimes we might get a little bit discouraged, but if you are keeping up here, that will make such a big difference. And of course, joining us will be fun too. Now, the first week you might be like, this is not going to accomplish much. As you declutter one thing, this was hard on my skin. And then 2 things, you can use this as a great opportunity to say, this is old and I don't need it anymore. You're starting to hone your decision-making skills. And at the end of this week, you will have decluttered 28 items. What? The second week, you are cooking. And you might be moving on to different living spaces, like the living room. Now at this point, if you come across some sentimental items, this is a great time to practice deciding what to do with them. Now, Peter Walsh states that truly sentimental treasures should all fit on your dining room table. And he explains that quite often we attribute sentimental meaning to trinkets, or worse, to malignant items that will bring back bad memories. Now, by the end of this week, you will have decluttered 77 additional things for a total of 105 items. Go you! Now, the third week is when things start picking up and you are spending so much quality time with your favorite 4 boxes. Now, as we work through these physical items, we can run into resistance. Now, resistance is when our brain thinks, okay, this isn't fun anymore, and I don't want to play this minimalist game any longer. I want you to push through it. You can do this. This is about the positive impact that decluttering this item and these things is going to have on you. And during these 7 days, you will have decluttered an additional 126 items for a total of 231 things. Now, the fourth week, the final stretch, you can do this, and it might be hard to even find more things, and perhaps you've exhausted certain areas, like the kitchen, for example. I love the kitchen, I love the garage. This is such a good area where there are things that maybe we're just not using all the time, but we're keeping them just in case, you know, the whole thing, we talk about it. This is a 9-day week because it's a 30-day challenge. So there's like 9 days this week. And this week in particular, 234 items are going to be tackled for a grand total of 465. There might be some struggles though. And before I get into that, I want to let you know about this. So why not do the 30-day challenge this month? I'm running it right now for February 2024, although you can literally start it any day. But I'm running it in the Untangled group, which is linked below, but you can even do it on your own with the super duper cool tracker sheet. Just go to minimalisthome.ca/game. I'll remind you about the link later, so just stand by. Some of the benefits of the 30-day minimalism game are that we can ramp up slowly. Now, I often will talk about like getting your decluttering muscles built up before you're jumping into like sentimental things and stuff. And you will get a real feel for how to declutter, how to work through the questions. And as you move through the game or the challenge, you might notice that you spend way less and less time deciding what to keep and let go of, which is so great. And you also will declutter a huge number of items quickly, even by the 14th day of the challenge. Decluttering your home from unnecessary clutter, it can have an enormous benefit for your physical and your mental health. Each item in our home is taking up mental space in addition to the physical space. And the weight of these items, it can cause increased stress and make it harder for us to relax, especially for us women. There are studies to show it. And because we feel like our work is never done, it truly does just make us feel worse, even though we're not always aware of it. And living with fewer things in a decluttered home can make for a way more peaceful daily life, and this minimalist game will help you get there. However, there can be some challenges. Challenges and overcoming decluttering obstacles. Now, some challenges in doing this game can include trouble finding unwanted things, because you will get to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, today I had 21, tomorrow I need to find 22. Maybe you are going to have trouble meeting the correct number of items for each day, or getting tired. Now I'm going to give you some tips to make sure that you are hitting your specific number of items each day and that you reach your goal. So consider adding some digital stuff to the mix. Now in a second, I'm going to give you a great tip, but if you think about it, you could look at how social media is interacting in your life and think, maybe I need to declutter some of that. Maybe declutter some photos or some emails. Now, the point of this challenge truly is to get rid of a lot of the physical things, but there are times where we're just going to be struggling and we don't want to lose momentum. So grab your mobile phone out and delete some old text messages. Now, I actually realized not too long ago that my phone storage was full of messages in old text messages, because my husband and I often we will send each other gifts and photos, and once I went through there and deleted old ones, I saved myself a ton of room, and that is huge. Here's a big one that sometimes people don't think of, and that is to ask a family member for help. If you are coming up against some pretty strong resistance, just ask a trusted friend or a family member just to help you find a few more items to declutter. And perhaps they will pick something up and say like, are you sure you want to keep this? And you might be like, no, why am I keeping that? Hi, if you promise to come and help me, I will make you so many cookies. Get a shredder and have some fun. Paper is a great way to get out of the way a huge amount of things and getting a big bang for your decluttering buck. And it's a great way to get older kids to help, supervised of course. I like to ask my son to shred a pile of paperwork and he doesn't hate it. He's 14, so you know, it gets it off my plate. But the thing about paper is that paper can represent huge clutter problems for a lot of us, because paper represents so much indecision, and if we can tackle some paper clutter, we are happy. Keep going. Now, you might come up against some tough times, but keep going. Don't give up. You can find what you need to do, and think about how amazing you are going to feel after this entire month of decluttering. I did this challenge back in 2020, and for the first few days, I was kind of bored. It was so funny. Like, I just wanted to really get in there and get her done. But in no time, I realized I was getting a lot done. And I always start the good old junk drawer. I love the junk drawer. And by the end of the week, I had a good number of things in my boxes and a tidy junk drawer with way less stuff. And yes, I did struggle during some points. And I remember counting literally single pens that were dried out. But I kept going. And I was very happy to have decluttered those 465 items. Now, you might be like, all right, I'm wandering around each day finding things, but there maybe should be a strategy behind this, and I totally get that. Perhaps you start with a to-do list, or you have a specific goal, which I think is absolutely wonderful. You know where you want to start and you know what path you want to take. However, you might still struggle a little bit. Maybe you want to start with your junk drawer, then move on to some paper clutter, but you don't know where to go after that. I have my entire decluttering strategy right here for you. Don't forget your tracker at minimalisthome.ca/game. I just love this little tracker. And I hope something great happens for you today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.